Every 6 years, I do that now.
Cheers! 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 You are Joe.
You got one coming next.
You better say cheers again.
You?
There you go, Dad.
All right.
Here's to your nose, Dad.
Champagne's back down here.
Dad. Dad. Here's to your nose and over it goes.
Yeah. Hey, you took it in the picture.
Yeah, I'm taking the picture.
Yeah, but you didn't get in it though.
I think,
Well, I'm in it.
Why don't you go
I think the two,
look at your cake?
yeah, go on up, blow the candle out. Blow the candle out.
No, we got a bed.
Oh yeah, we gotta sing to
I
him.
think,
Now we gotta sing.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandpa. Happy birthday to you.
Blow the candle out.
Blow out the candle.
Blow out your candle.
Well, by golly, I don't know. Mary and I were both the same age. And the younger generation seemed to be the more zip than we had when we were their age. So thanks a lot for everybody.
You deserve it. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
You deserve it.
That was real sweet.
Speech.
Speech, yeah.
Yeah, you want to recite any Harry Lauder stuff or anything like that?
Interview with Grandpa Smith. The date today is December 27th, 1988. 90th birthday party. So, Grandpa, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you were born and that sort of thing.
Well, I was born at an old house 90 years ago, and all our family were born in the same house.
The same house?
Same house.
Jeez.
And we came out here,
What town was that?
at Bathgate, Scotland.
Bathgate.
Bathgate.
Like Andy Bathgate.
It's halfway between Edinburgh and Glasgow.
Oh. Okay.
And I went to school, and the lady that I married went to school the same class with me.
Who was that? Who was that?
Mary Townsend, her name was. And I never was a great scholar, but I was always fairly good, you know. In fact, I was very good in mathematics, and I can still remember this. The only two who could beat me in the class was two girls.
Yeah?
And I still remember their names too.
How were they?
Maggie Billy and what was the other one now?
Maggie.
Well, anyhow, that was one of them. Maggie Billy. And another girl. They got first and second, and I got third.
Ah.
Yes.
Ah. My gosh.
And I never got. I was always good at school. I was even in the soccer team. I played local in the school soccer team.
Huh.
And But when I had to go from the Bathgate Academy, which was a kind of high class school, when I was 12 years old or 11 years old, I had to go to another school. And you know the reason why?
Why?
My mother couldn't afford to buy the books for this other school.
No kidding.
So I went to the school where your grandma went to. They gave you everything. They called it the Bathgate Parish School. It was a good enough school, all right. But when I was 12, they couldn't afford the books to buy it. I had a sister and a brother older than me. And when it came to me, well...
that was too late, huh?
Look, I had to go somewhere else. That's what it is.
My gosh.
Yeah, but I got along all right.
So then you, did you go to that school then through high school, or?
I went till I was 14, and then everybody quits at 14 in this particular school. You're not going to go to higher grade. It's not like you, when you want to go to college, you have to go a higher grade in high school, haven't you?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Well, anyhow, you quit when you're 14. In fact, everybody did, Thomas. Except if you was going to be a lawyer or a teacher or something like that. But all the other people that was going to work with their hands, they quit when they were 14. And then you had to serve a 5-year apprenticeship. And that's what I did.
An apprenticeship, and that's what
engineering,
in engineering.
I was an apprentice engineer for 5 years. And all that time, I went 3 nights a week to night school for 2 hours. Every night, 3 nights a week.
Wow.
And during this time, before this, I was a Boy Scout for 7 years.
No kidding.
I was about 8 years old. 7 years.
Tell us about coming to America.
America?
Yeah.
Well,
what age were you, and what did?
Well,
what made you decide to come here first?
Well,
why?
Your mother, your grandma, and I were going together. And down we could spend all the money going here and there and every other where we used to go to shows and different things. You know, you spend all. I never could save a penny. So. And I had good wages. I was a journeyman by this. I'd been to the army and was back from the army, and I was a journeyman. And I decided I'm getting to go up to America. My brother, my older brother, he went to Africa. He did it for the same reason. And I came out here, figured I would stay 3 years. And instead of that, I'm here yet.
My gosh. Yeah. What year did you come over, and how old were you?
23.
How old were you then?
I was living with Scotch people, and I was going to go back in 27 and get married to your grandma. And this old guy, this old Scotch, Doris, they called me Doris. Doris. Why do you want to go back there, Doris, spend all that money, and here you could buy all your furniture and take care of and rent a house, and I did that. I wrote to your grandma's parents and suggested that she come out here, and I said, well, we were married in Detroit.
My gosh.
And that's about my whole history.
But when
your father came along.
When was that? When
my trouble began.
Oh, Bob, spam.
Oh, Bob.
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 Oh, Bob, spam.
Oh, Bob. 'em up.
Just a minute, or obviously a few years. You first landed though at Ellis Island, right, New York?
Oh, no.
Didn't you live in Philadelphia or somewhere?
No, this other guy and I decided to come out here. He was a farmer,
Uh-huh.
son of a farmer anyhow. He decided to come out here together, so we did. And we came second class, so we wouldn't have to go to Ellis Island.
Oh.
If you're second class, you were just like a citizen. You could right off the boat. You could go wherever the devil you liked after
Oh.
that. So when we got to Ellis Island, this other guy, I got off the boat and I was down on the dock there waiting, and the boat was away up here, you know, what's the docks down there? It's quite near Wall Street.
Oh. Huh.
The Battery.
Oh.
The Battery.
Battery Park.
Huh?
Battery Park.
Battery Park, yeah. Well, that's where the boats tied up at, these big liners. And by this time, though, you had to have your papers all in order. I had to put my name in about 6 months before I could come here. All your papers were all examined when you got to Ellis. You get off the boat. I got off the boat right away. This guy is hollering down from the deck up there. He says, I can't get off, he says. I was born in South Africa.
Oh.
But he lived all his life in Scotland.
Oh,
Wouldn't let him off.
God.
South Africa. they were very strict then on yeah, nothing like today. Look how we're taking right now. How many millions of Mexicans.
Sure.
Give them citizenship just because they want to stay here.
Yeah.
We had a damn little time here.
Huh.
Well, I got off the boat anyhow, and the only address I had was a guy, this guy that couldn't get off the boat. His cousin had stayed at this place in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I says, all right. I says, by golly, I'll get off the boat. You know, I got off the boat. Well, I says, I'll go out there. Oh, what he told me was, you had to have an American citizen vouch for him, you know, before he could get off.
Right.
So the only way we could do that was for me to go out to Bethlehem and try to get somebody to come from Bethlehem back to New York, which I did.
Wow.
I got out to Bethlehem. I was lucky there though. When I got to the station in Bethlehem, they were all reworking it. Oh, all busted down and everything else. They were all reworking it. I didn't know how to get to the station. I said, holy cat. I said, finally I talked to a guy. I said, how do you get uptown from here? I said, I want to get to Bethlehem. How do you get out of here and get to Bethlehem? He said, you're Scotch.
How'd you guess?
And he was Scotch. He took me by the arm, took me up there and got me a room, board. And the next day I had to go back. This guy was on the boat, sent a telegram to this address that he was supposed to go to, and they got in touch with me at this woman's house. Bethlehem was a small place at that time, though it was a great big factory.
Uh-huh.
But anyhow, I had to pay this guy's expenses back to New York. Of course, it was only 90 miles, but nevertheless, I had to pay his. And we stayed in a great big hotel in New York for 3 days, trying to get this guy off
the boat.
Yeah, finally he got off. And custom haircut, oh, Jesus, where's he go to America? Oh, God, what he had to do.
Huh.
But anyhow, if he was a tradesman, now this was a damn shame. And it still applies almost yet. There wasn't a single American young man had a trade here. I don't care if he was a bricklayer, a plumber, or whatever the devil you are. They're all foreigners. And you could get, I could get a job. I got a job right away in Bethlehem. Right away. But when I found out what they were paying wages, I was getting more in Scotland. I said, what the heck, I ain't sticking here. So we both went to Altoona and we got a better job.
Altoona, is that in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was a real big railroad job. I got a job there making parts for the locomotive.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed 4 months there.
Came to Detroit. What made you decide to come to Detroit?
Well, it's a long story, this. Maybe I can make it short. Skilled men, even though we were only 17 or 18, we were skilled. We was exempted from the army. But finally, the cop passed a law. Everybody between 18 and 20, the army. And by God, they did. But by this time, the war was going to be over. It was almost 1918, 1917, or 1918. I never saw any actual service. I didn't see any actual. I did my training for the army, but I never saw any actual service. And they demobbed me with foreign service for my discharge papers. No. But by golly, that was one time in my life I really enjoyed in the army.
The army?
Oh, Jesus, I love that. I love the training. I love the. I didn't like the food. Spent all the money on food. But oh God, I did like the. I was filled so damn sick.
Yeah.
And I had one experience in there. It was kind of funny in a way. The trenches were 6 feet deep. You know, the trenches we were training in.
Yeah.
Well, down there as high as the ceiling. And I was jumping into one of the trenches one day in a spring bank so badly that I couldn't walk. I was sent to the hospital. The next guy to bed with me who had been there through all the war, shot up, and another guy, another guy. Here was me lying in bed there with a sprained neck. And the general around send a jail around inspector, he would talk to you, you know, he would tell you, where did you get, you know, he got April or wherever he got your wound, you know. Come another guy, and they finally came to me, asked me where I got mine. I told him I had a sprained ankle. He gave me a touchy look over there. I remember that perfectly. I was about 4 or 5 days in the hospital. I couldn't walk. You know, you can get a bad sprain by now, yeah.
So, we were talking, you were in Altoona, and last thing I asked you was, what made you decide, why did you decide to come to Detroit?
Well, I really decided to come to Detroit because in Altoona we were making these big, huge locomotives. I was what they call the miscellaneous department. Oh, I had a very good job there, working on all kinds of delicate machinery, you know, that went into these engines. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, they made the tires, the wheels, they made everything in this big factory. There was 13,000 in this Altoona factory working. All skilled workers too. All skilled. Well, let me go back to the skill. When you came here, every toolmaker, every die maker, every bricklayer, every plumber, every so-and-so, whatever trade you wanted, any skilled group, they came from Europe. You know why?
Why?
The young men here didn't have a chance to get to learn a trade. There was no place they could learn it. The big companies didn't want to bother with kids here and breaking them in and showing them how to do it. They wanted us suckers over from Scotland or wherever. They could get us over here and they didn't have to pay nothing for our education, or nothing. Wow. So it was cheap for them to do that. But that was a damn shame. I still think it's disgusting, that the idea that these big companies, Ford included, they didn't have any apprentice school at one time. They started out, I think, around 1920 or 1921 or so. But anyhow, there was no skilled guy here of American origin or American born. He never learned a trade. He still was on a farm or wherever he was doing, you know. I mean, most of them were on farms. Or were down coal miners. A lot of coal miners came up from the south, the coal miners. But there's no skilled help at all at any of the shops here. And it's always the same here. These big companies don't want to hire a lot of kids and train them.
Right.
Costs money.
Right.
Anyhow, at the beginning of the year, or February, here I see some damn newfangled ideas. They were discontinuing the locomotives and bringing in these, what they call these, diesels, the diesel, electric diesels. That's what they still have.
Right.
We're bringing these in. And my God, I said, I'm going to go out of here before the fire. And I did. I came out here and I got a job at Ford's. And I got a job at Ford's. This is how you got a job if you had skill. They had a line there a mile long at the employment office. I go over to the office and a guy walking up and down there. Any skilled worker here? Any skilled all asking, you know, just walking up and down there big long lines. And one or two guys might have got, I don't remember who, I got it. I said, yeah, I got a trade. I told them. Right at the front of the line, and I was first in the employment office.
Wow.
That's how they treated a skilled worker. But the poor suckers that didn't have a trade had to wait, and maybe turned down, maybe didn't get hired. I got hired right away.
Wow.
I didn't have to go around looking for a job. And at that time, if you was a skilled worker, you could get a job anywhere. You could quit a job today in 2 hours. 1927, and the grammar came out in 27. And I was living in Highland Park at the time. And she came out here, and the travel aide said she had to be married by Friday night. And this would be, say, Monday or something.
Oh, why was this?
When she got off the boat, she came as a bride. And they wanted to be sure she got married, the traveller aid, and they had to be married within a certain time, say a week, something like that. So I went around all the friends I had made. I made dozens of friends in Detroit in the last 3 or 4 years previous to that. I played soccer with a lot of them.
Sure.
I went around, Mary and I went around, your grandma and I went around knocking on the door. Hey, we're getting married on Friday night. Knocking on the door. We had about 200 or 300 already. They all came just like this. They lived happy happily ever after.
Oh, yeah, Grandma coming now. Go get Grandma. Oh, where are you? Grandma, we've been talking to Grandpa on where he was born and how he came over to this country, and we've been through Ellis Island and Erie, Pennsylvania, and to Altoona, and Grandpa just came to Detroit and just got a job at Ford Motor, and now he's talking about how you went knocking on the doors when you got married. You invited all kinds of people over to your wedding, and you had a great big wedding.
We just given it from the mother.
Did you really? That's great. That's great. What year did you get married?
1927.
1927. So how old were you, Grandma?
27.
About 27. Okay, that's great. So where was your first house or your first apartment? Where did you live first in Detroit?
We lived on Northwestern Avenue in Detroit.
Northwestern Avenue.
One block above the
Along the
boulevard.
boulevard.
Right
near
here.
Linwood.
Right near Linwood. Huh. And is that where Dad was born then, in that house?
Dad was born
Yeah.
on the Northwestern Avenue where we live.
That's
right there.
Off the
Huh.
boulevard, yeah.
And then when did you, your next house then, did you move into Dearborn, or what was the next, where did you live after that? How long after that?
I was transferred from Highland Park to River Rouge, and we moved to Dearborn
And we moved to Dearborn.
in 1930.
I don't know how long we stayed there renting. How long we went long. And then we built that house there,
Oh, fantastic.
1936.
Huh. I'm going to go back just a little bit so we can catch up just a little bit. When you heard Grandpa was going to come over to this country, how did you feel about that? Was that mutually acceptable, or was that kind of a...
He was my boyfriend then.
Yeah, I know. Was that... no, don't... All right. Was that, how did you feel about Grandpa coming over here?
I didn't like it.
I bet. I bet.
But he couldn't make enough money to live as I was living then.
Huh, I see. Huh. And then you stayed in constant communication, I bet, but I bet you never talked. There weren't telephones
No, I don't
back
think so.
then.
Telephones
So
was
what, you just
common.
wrote letters constantly back and forth to each other?
Yes.
That was several years, right?
3 years and a half.
3.5 years.
3.5.
Okay. And he told us that he wrote your folks.
Yeah. And Mother didn't like it because he wasn't coming back. He promised her he would come back and marry me, see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, it was economical and we did this, see. Spending money to come home and pay my fare over and see. So,
Right.
but after that, she got over it.
Yeah.
He asked me if we'd do it again, Dave.
Would you do it again? Oh, you're not going to answer?
I'm scared.
So cut it for a second. Okay. So you're married in 1923.
No, 7.
I'm sorry, 27. So where did you spend your honeymoon?
We spent our honeymoon in Cleveland.
In Cleveland or someplace?
Yes.
Wow. Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah. I had a friend there,
Uh-huh.
and we went to her house.
No, great. Oh, did you drive down there, take a train, or what'd you do?
No, Tom Laird
Mm-hmm.
had a car, and we didn't. And that was our wedding present from him.
Was borrowing his car?
No,
He drove us.
Oh, he drove you? Oh, you remember what kind of car it was?
A Dodge.
A Dodge?
A Dodge.
Huh.
Yeah.
What year did you get your first car?
Oh, I didn't get a car till 29, after your dad was born.
29. What was that, a Model T?
Yeah.
It's a
No, a Model A.
A Model A, I'm sorry, Model A, of course, yeah. And what year was Dad born?
1929.
29.
Yeah, but let me tell you about this.
All right.
So we went to Cleveland for our honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, if you went to Toledo, you could
Oh,
get married
yes.
right away. You know what I mean?
Toledo,
You had
Ohio.
no waiting periods on you. You went right in and got married. So when we drove from here to Cleveland, and this was the next morning after we were married. We went to my sister's house and stayed overnight, and then we started on our honeymoon in the morning. This guy picked us up. when we got to Cleveland, we had a cop there right at one of the main streets we was going. Oh, come on, right down here, down here, down here. All the people that were getting married, that wanted to get married, they had the car was a little bit decorated, see? And he was waving us down there when they go to get married. And the driver shouted out the window, "You're too late!"
That's great.
Yeah, I was on the way to Cleveland.
That's right.
Somewhere.
Halfway.
So you said your sister was, you stopped at your sister's
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you had, were you the first sibling over here, or did you have?
I was the first,
And then
my
they,
sister came out here and married a guy that was here.
okay, did she come to Detroit because you were here?
No, I wasn't here then. I was down south.
She actually came to Detroit and then, oh, I see,
And
okay.
when I came up to Detroit, I went to live with her.
And your uncle, or your brother Bill?
Yeah.
Came over
they
later?
came later.
Much later?
They came in 28.
Oh, okay.
A year after.
After me, yeah.
They came in 28.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So Dad was born in 29
Uh-huh.
in the house in Northwestern, and then you moved to Dearborn, and then rented for a while, and then you moved into the house that you live in now.
1936.
Had that house built in 36.
That's right.
Huh.
To tell you the truth, I was never laid off, actually. I was never laid off.
Never was I.
And everybody was idle. Oh God, there was hardly anybody working, but I stayed in my job. I guess if you kid, I don't know. I was lucky maybe. I stayed in my job. I wasn't laid off. Anyhow, what did I say about? About.
As you told me, you always made a lot of house payments a lot.
Oh yeah.
I always went down with the extra money for the house. You used to tell me
I
that.
used to have your dad by the hand and the money in my other hand. We paid it 3 times quicker than we thought
Wow.
we would.
What can you tell us, if anything, about that period of time, the late 20s and early 30s, about maybe the depression and rough times that may have been back then?
Hey,
How do you recall?
bad.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But we actually, we didn't
But I was one of the lucky few. I lived in Dearborn, you see. And if you didn't live in Dearborn, they laid you off.
Wow.
And I was just lucky that I lived in
Lucky
Dearborn.
you
I
lived in
moved here
Dearborn.
in 1930. I moved to Dearborn. And I was lucky when we were doing this. Everybody was, if you didn't live in Dearborn, out you went.
That's the way Ford treated people then, huh?
But if you lived in Dearborn, well, that was an asset anyhow. They kept you on. If they could give a job for you, they kept you on. I was kept on, so I was. Yeah.
We talked to Grandpa about where he was born, and I know you were born in Bathgate also,
Yes.
correct? But why don't you tell us a little bit about your family?
Well, there was 2 girls and 6 boys.
6 boys.
My sister was a nurse, a child's nurse. She was a real lady compared to me. I was a little tough one. And she smoked like a trooper. And I couldn't smoke. I didn't smoke. I never even tried it. And yet she was a perfect lady.
Wow.
So when I was leaving for America, my oldest brother never married. He said, listen, of course George promised to come and marry me there, see. And he said, listen, if you need to come home, call me or send me word and I'll send you money.
Oh.
But my mother said, I know you don't need to do that. She had faith in George, see, but she just was peeved for not coming home.
Hey, believe it or not, I never met my mother-in-law or father-in-law.
No?
You never knew them, huh?
Oh, I knew them all right
Yes.
before I left,
Uh-huh.
but I never met them after we
Out
got
in
back.
Thailand.
Oh,
But they were there by the time the war came on, and they died during the war.
uh-huh.
So then you had how many brothers?
6.
6 brothers.
Tom, John, Jimmy, Willie, Frank, and George.
Okay.
Who was the baby of the family?
George.
Where's was the baby? How many of them visited this country?
2.
2 of
And their
them.
wives.
2 and their wives came over.
That's what you have.
Hey, really? George, Jimmy, and Frank. Hey, Bill. No, Bill.
No, Bill didn't come.
John.
Oh, John, that's right.
3 of them came over.
That's the story of the Smiths, I think.
Yeah,
That's the beginning.
Very good.
great. You still have a lot in front of you.
Yeah.
Gotta hit 100 or you haven't done it.
I know how you can't say you can live an exciting life. They're making movies about it.
We're all sitting in here just.
Yeah.
Hey, about the paper yet. I've done it for years and years.
That's great.
You know, it cost me $100 a year for it. That's paper.
You mean
The
the
Bathgate
hometown
Bulletin.
My hometown.
Is that right? Do you know
Weekly?
anybody that the
Weekly?
news is about?
Every
Week, the courier.
Is that?
Every week.
How about that? Huh.
I like to read it too.
That's
But
remarkable.
down in everybody
Actually,
knew
we don't know
all
anybody
gone
in
ahead of
the-
us, Crystal.
Huh?
That's what I mean. They're out in
The birth,
West,
deaths,
you
and
know.
marriages, we don't know anything.
No, of course you don't.
Yes, one last question.
All right.
What's the secret of living to be 90 years old?
Well, I would say it won't take very much to tell you what you got to live right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know what that means.
How did you live? No, that's right.
Hey, no, yeah, anybody that lives, I looked at the paper tonight, and all the very educated, highly professors and different people
Yes.
died in the last day or so. I got ain't a darn one of them over 75. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Well, don't
And
you
all
think they were a
people
lot?
had a lot of things ahead of them, you know.
Well, they're under a lot of stress, maybe.
I believe that's.
I think that's got a lot to do with it.
that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
By God, I don't think anybody had more stress than us Ford workers when old Henry was ruling the roost by God. Oh,
Oh, I wouldn't think
oh,
that.
gee, I know it, Crystal.
Oh.
I was very, very thankful. Not when he died, but I was very thankful. So was another 100,000.
Mm.
But when the union got in, he worked to 6 or 7 days a week. When it was.
I got along all right with where I worked, but the system was terrific. Go ahead.
Why are you there in that corner?
Oh, okay.
It wasn't our doing, so that's what they
All right.
They call it.
There.
Yeah, right in half.
We didn't remember this thing.
Hey, tell you a
I mean,
story
the
about
building.
Oh.
Hey.
It's so boring.
Did you cut it, George?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to serve it. I don't know.
Okay. No, it's Alistair. That's good.
Oh, I had the Jimmy Jack.
Okay,
Well, you better get Grandpa in the middle of it.
Yeah, come down here.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
I think you took one higher out here. I'll take a load.
That's very nice. That looks great.
I think you take the
Are you back
Close together. Stand close together.
Are you both?
Johnny Banks had young Bonnie Braid on the steep side of Belfast, where you and I will never meet again. On the bonnie, bonnie banks of Loch Lomond. Fill it up again, boys.
Might have good background vocals.
Okay, you're on. You're on. You're on. Matthew in there.
You are
Thank God I have
Hey, come on. Doris, just a wee love song, just a wee dolphin, Doris, before we can go on. There's a wee wifey waiting, and a wee fountain den. And you can say it's a broad brick next, you know, next, you can.
I think we'll have a wee Deoch and Doris. There's a good old Scottish custom that has stood the test of time. It's a custom that's been carried out in every land and clime, where brother Scots forgather. It's aye the usual thing. Just before we say good night, we fill our cups and sing. Just a wee Deoch and Doris, just a wee drap at all, just a wee Deoch and Doris, before we gang awa. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button vein. If you can say it's a brobrecht moonlight night, well you're all right, you can. Just a wee Deoch and Doris, just a wee drap at all, just a wee Deoch and Doris, before we gang awa. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button vein. If you can say it's a brobrecht moonlight night, well you're all right, you can. I like a man who is a man who's straight and fair, a sort of man who will and can in all things you share. I like a man, a jolly man, the sort of man you know, the chap who slaps your back and says, man, Jock, before we go. Just a wee Deoch and Doris, just a wee drap at all, just a wee Deoch and Doris, before we gang awa. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button vein. If you can say it's a brobrecht moonlight night, well you're all right, you can. Just a wee Deoch and Doris, just a wee drap at all, just a wee Deoch and Doris, before we gang awa. There's a wee wifey waiting in a wee button vein. If you can say it's a brobrecht moonlight night, well you're all right, you can.
It's a little drink before you leave. You know? Everybody leaves, and you have a little drink before you go.